Missouri Army National Guard and Marine Corps Reserve have already expressed support for the temporary relocation proposal, including the use of interim facilities in North St. Louis. However, the Navy Reserve has not yet agreed to move forward with the temporary relocation plan, despite the significant economic and infrastructure implications associated with delaying the Lambert expansion project. Therefore, the proposal cannot move forward. This is not simply an airport issue. This project represents one of the largest economic development and modernization efforts in the St. Louis region, and delays could have major downstream impacts on construction timelines, regional growth, and future investment. The St. Louis region is a center of innovation, a major defense and manufacturing hub, and plays a critical role in strengthening our national security. St. Louis has shown that we are a reliable partner, and we are asking that you all be a reliable partner in return. So today I'm asking you to personally look into the issue and work with the Navy Reserve to understand the necessity and urgency of this temporary relocation. And will you commit to having your staff work with my office and local stakeholders to help resolve the current stalemate and move this project forward?
Subscribe, God bless you. What's up, patriots? This is America Truth Channel, your frontline defender of American military superiority, America First policies, and exposing the radical left's attempts to weaken our national defense. Today, we're reacting to this clip from the House Armed Services Committee hearing. Democrat Representative Wesley Bell from Ohio is questioning Acting Navy Secretary Hung Chow about how the Navy is coordinating with the Air Force on critical next-generation fighter programs, specifically the Navy's F/AXX and the Air Force's NG-80. As a right-wing patriot who's watched our military get politicized and weakened for years, my immediate reaction is this. These kinds of questions are important for oversight, but we must ensure they serve the goal of maximum lethality against China, not bureaucratic delays or woke distractions. Acting Secretary Hung Chow, a combat veteran, immigrant success story, and strong conservative voice, is exactly the leader we need in this Trump administration to deliver results. Let's break this hearing down step by step, react to the key exchange, and give you my detailed, unfiltered patriot opinion. If you support a strong, lethal military that puts America first, smash that like button and subscribe.
Thank you.
Mr. Bell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the witnesses for being here today. Secretary Cow, last week I sent you a bipartisan, bicameral letter regarding the effort to relocate the Missouri Army National Guard, Marine Corps Reserves, and Navy Reserve units currently located on 34 acres of property at St. Louis Lambert International Airport. The current facilities are outdated and need to be replaced with modernized long-term facilities. At the same time, these units must be relocated in order for Lambert to move forward with its multi-billion-dollar modernization and expansion project. In return, Lambert has identified a new larger parcel of land to serve as the permanent long-term location for the Guard and Marine Corps units, while the Missouri National Guard has identified historic buildings at Jefferson Barracks Air National Guard Station that can be renovated to support the Navy Reserve mission. Interim facilities would be used until those permanent locations are completed. The Missouri Army National Guard and Marine Corps Reserve have already expressed support for the temporary relocation proposal, including the use of interim facilities in North St. Louis. However, the Navy Reserve has not yet agreed to move forward with the temporary relocation plan, despite the significant economic and infrastructure implications associated with delaying the Lambert expansion project. Therefore, the proposal cannot move forward. This is not simply an airport issue. This project represents one of the largest economic development and modernization efforts in the St. Louis region, and delays could have major downstream impacts on construction timelines, regional growth, and future investment. The St. Louis region is a center of innovation, a major defense and manufacturing hub, and plays a critical role in strengthening our national security. St. Louis has shown that we are a reliable partner, and we are asking that you all be a reliable partner in return. So today I'm asking you to personally look into the issue and work with the Navy Reserve to understand the necessity and urgency of this temporary relocation. And will you commit to having your staff work with my office and local stakeholders to help resolve the current stalemate and move this project forward?
Congressman, we will answer your letter, and we will work with you, sir.
Thank you. And then, Secretary Cowell, the Navy's FAXX program will play a critical role in maintaining carrier air wing superiority against increasingly advanced threats in the Indo-Pacific. Given its importance, how is the Navy coordinating with the Air Force on sixth-generation fighter development to ensure interoperability where appropriate while avoiding unnecessary duplication and inefficiencies between FAXX and NGAD efforts?
Congressman, thank you for that question. This is why we're having the Undersecretary of War for Acquisition Sustainment be kind of the arbitrator, make sure we're not making the same mistakes, just learning from the Air Force what they're doing. And by the end of the summer, we will have a down select for the FAXX so that we move forward. Again, learning from the Air Force, we will be able to accelerate and move that program out further. Again, carry air wing, if you saw in Epic Fury and Absolute Resolve, that's the best way to get firepower downrange quickly. And the F-35 has done amazingly well, but we need a sixth-generation aircraft to thwart the next threat, sir.
Thank you. I yield back.
Mr. Hayes.
Representative Wesley Bell asks a fairly technical question. How is the Navy coordinating with the Air Force on these advanced fighter programs? F/AXX is the Navy's future carrier-based fighter to replace the F/A-18 Super Hornet, while NGAD is the Air Force's next-generation air dominance program for sixth-generation air superiority. On the surface, this sounds like legitimate oversight. We need these services to work together to avoid duplication and maximize taxpayer dollars. But patriots know the deeper context. For years under Biden, joint programs became bogged down in bureaucracy, DI requirements, and climate mandates that slowed down innovation. China is rapidly advancing its own fighter programs, including stealth J-20s and J-35s, while trying to match our technological edge. Acting Secretary Hung Chow, as a true patriot and veteran, likely responds by emphasizing close coordination, shared technology where it makes sense, and a focus on delivering capable platforms on time. As a right-wing patriot, I say, this coordination must prioritize speed and lethality above all else. We cannot afford the slow, risk-averse procurement processes of the past. President Trump's administration is already shifting the Pentagon toward a wartime mindset, and that's exactly what we need against peer adversaries like Communist China. Watch as Secretary Chow explains the ongoing collaboration likely covering shared engine technology, sensor fusion, AI integration, and lessons learned between the services. These programs are crucial. F/AXX for naval power projection from carriers, NGAD for dominating the skies over the Pacific. Patriots, this isn't just about shiny new jets. It's about deterring China from invading Taiwan or dominating the Indo-Pacific. The Navy and Air Force must avoid the old rivalries and siloed thinking that plagued past programs. However, coordination should never mean compromising each service's unique requirements. The Navy needs aircraft that can handle carrier operations, folding wings, strengthened landing gear, corrosion resistance. The Air Force has different needs for land-based operations. My valid opinion as a right-wing patriot, Acting Secretary Chow is the right man for the job. He's a fighter who understands the warfighter ethos and has spoken out against turning the military into a social experiment. Under Trump, we're finally purging woke policies and focusing on winning. We need these next-gen fighters yesterday, not in 15 years after endless studies and cost overruns. Cut the red tape, reward American defense companies that deliver on time and on budget, and maintain healthy competition between programs rather than forcing artificial jointness that delays everything. Zooming out, this hearing highlights the bigger battle for American military dominance. The radical left spent years weakening our forces with recruitment disasters, lowered standards, and prioritizing diversity over merit. Now, with President Trump and leaders like Hung Chau in charge, we're reversing that damage and rebuilding. Coordination between Navy and Air Force is smart. Sharing tech like adaptive cycle engines or advanced stealth coatings saves money. But it must serve one goal: making our military unbeatable. China is watching closely. They want us bogged down in bureaucracy while they mass-produce fighters and hypersonic weapons. In my strong right-wing view, America First defense means massive investment in these programs, but with strict accountability. No more blank checks. Reward results. Bring manufacturing back to American soil. Support our defense industrial base with American workers. Representative Bell, as a Democrat, may be asking reasonable questions, but his party owns the neglect of the past decade. We need Republicans and Trump loyalists to keep pushing for speed and strength. We should also expand unmanned loyal wingmen concepts, hypersonics, and directed energy weapons. The future of air combat is networked, AI-enhanced, and lethal. Hung Chau gets this. He's spoken passionately about filling the military with alpha males and alpha females focused on winning wars, not pronouns patriots. Moments like this hearing show why strong leadership matters. Representative Wesley Bell can ask about coordination, but the real priority is delivering dominant next-generation fighters under President Trump's vision. Acting Secretary Hung Chau is fighting for a lethal, merit-based military, and we must have his back. My final opinion as a dedicated right-wing patriot: fully support aggressive development of F/AXX and NGAD with smart inter-service coordination, but never at the expense of speed or capability. America must maintain air and naval supremacy to deter World War III. Weakness invites aggression. Strength preserves peace. What do you think, patriots? Is joint Navy-Air Force coordination on next-gen fighters a good idea, or should each service go its own way for better results? Sound off in the comments, civil patriots only. If you support a strong military, President Trump's agenda, and leaders like Hung Chau, smash that like button, share this reaction video, and subscribe for more detailed, hard-hitting right-wing analysis. God bless.